little baby.
What?
Where are we at today?
At Dave and Buster's.
That's right. We're at Dave and Buster's. Do you know what we're going to get today? We worked a long time for this, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Finally earned it up to get a PlayStation 5. You excited?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
I'm Yuanji,
I'm Saint.
and today we're back at it talking about Collector Week.
Collector's Week, that's right. Last time we talked about print run sizes,
Yeah.
which I think things are going in the right direction. We're talking about the Rainbow Foil reprint policy,
Yeah.
which I think I'm up. Yanji is down on it. Or, well, medium.
I'm medium.
But I'm bullish about it. And there's so much more that happened in Collector's Week because it just capped off this morning when we saw the final post by LSS to wrap up the entire Collector's Week, right?
Yeah.
So, Yuanji, we were mentioning that you had seen some of the interviews. You saw the two major interviews.
Yeah, the
right?
two main guys, two of the guys that I am personally familiar with, Open Boosters and Peng Jun.
Foil Degen.
Yeah, Foil Degen. Foil Degen I've played with personally at Pro Tour Draft. And I've gotten to know Open Boosters. We talked a little bit at, I think it was the U.S. Nationals that Charles won.
Okay.
And so I am personally familiar with these two guys. So it was really cool for me to kind of see them get their shine, to introduce themselves to the larger Flesh and Blood community as two of the, if you're in the know, the collector sphere, two of the most well-known collectors.
Well-known collectors for sure. And it was a great opportunity just to see them, showcase their wares and give their perspectives on the game of Flesh and Blood. I would say Open Boosters is just a passionate guy. He's a legend in the YouTube content creator community.
Yeah.
He's opened up, I think, multiple black bordered Black Lotuses, probably many white bordered Black Lotuses as well. He opened up, I think, a 9.5 alpha Black Lotus in BGS, as well as I think 2 beta 9.5 Black Lotuses, and he's just been opening product. For example, he had sponsored the most viewed video of Rudy's entire 4,069 video collection on YouTube. Was one where Open Boosters sponsored his Alpha Magic the Gathering starter deck, and that I think has over 3 million views. I happen to be there as well. And just as an aside, we're gonna do more of the same this coming week.
We're gonna open the Magic Alpha starters.
Maybe. It's actually happening like 8 calendar days from filming today.
Okay.
So people might see me in some content that's not FaBled Hunters, and that might be a good thing. It might be a bad thing. I don't know. But
We got in too much trouble.
Yeah, not too much trouble. Open Boosters is a great personal friend.
Yeah.
And he has a great collection. I would even venture to say that he, at one point, was solely responsible for a massive tidal wave of gold foil price increases, probably 12 to 18 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Both of the guys that they interviewed have extensive gold foil collections.
Yep.
Which I think just goes to show their appreciation for the game. I think not only as I feel like the act of collecting gold foils isn't just like a personal act.
No.
I think being able to kind of give back to the Flesh and Blood players community through helping out the players with purchasing the essentially like prize cards that they're winning.
Yep.
Is really cool for them to do.
Yeah, and they recognized it. And June, he went one step further and he was like, this is about the players. This is about supporting the judges. This is about really supporting the organized play of this game. And I will do almost anything to support these people because they work so hard and they play so hard. And I'm in the shoes of a player. And, it might have been like 20 something years since I last played a TCG competitively, but here I am, And now, he left out this sentence, but he's like, now I'm rich, so I could get everything I couldn't get when I was a kid. That's great. I mean, hey, I'm paraphrasing here, but there's kind of that sentiment. And I mean, I, of all people, fully understand that sentiment personally because, I was a broke little high school kid that couldn't afford very much Power 9. And now I'm not a broke little high school kid anymore. So I can afford some nicer things. And that was it was really great to just take a back seat because last year I think I was featured in a Collectors Week interview. And this year I'm watching some of my colleagues, people I'm friendly with and I know and I see at multiple events, feature their collections. So yeah, it was really, really great to see, get a nice, refreshing change of perspective.
Yeah, and I think there were some non-official members also making waves in the social media sphere, right? Showing off their collections.
Well, there was one which did make its way around different chat groups. It hit up my messenger, private message windows, and whatnot. There's a store in Japan that had posted a whole bunch of things. And the main feedback, I believe, was that, first off, I just have to say that for them to have a Enigma Marvel 1 of 100 that's also graded in PCG 10, that is quite an impressive grade. It's really nice, but it's not worth, I think they're asking for something like 2 million yen. So 2 million yen
what is that in
is a little steep. Well, you got to divide it by 150, so it's like I think $13,000, 13,000 USD.
I mean,
right now. Hey, it's your card. The store in Japan, Hasuya _TCG.
Yeah.
You can charge whatever you want for it. And I looked at the collection though. Like I said, it's really nice. Yeah, it's 2 million yen. They also have a Balance of Justice in 9.5 basic, 3.5 million yen. But hey, to be fair, these are a lot of really, really beautiful gold foils in this display. And I do want to just bring up, at least, like we tried to translate it, Twitter said unable to fetch translation. So basically what I'm reading is that, look, there's a wall of gold foils, something, we have this for sale in our store. It's okay for us to be patient to sell them because and then right in the middle, I think it says something about, being patient and wait until the prices go up. So basically, I think that you could see a lot of this sentiment from store owners worldwide. A lot of store owners are actually collectors, right? And I talk about this with...
Yeah, it's like they're collectors and they want to have like some kind of excuse for purchasing a lot of Flesh and Blood cards.
They do. And they're waiting until there's like this make me move number where it's like, well, I didn't want to sell this Enigma Marvel for $14,000 US, but if you're going to pay $14,000 US, I can't say no. I have to be, responsible, as a fiduciary to my business and take your money. And basically, I think that sentiment is really cool because, this store, Hasuya TCG is out there showcasing a lot of their wares. They're also very confident in the game. If it doesn't sell, that's okay. They can be patient. They've got a whole wall of really out of reach, very scarce, hard to find items. And they believe in the game and they believe that these items will only get more and more valuable because they're not printing them. You know that these are loot drops that are 1 out of 40 or 1 out of 60 or 1 out of 25 in the case of like Balance of Justice, or 1 out of 100, one of the nicest graded in the case of the Enigma Marvel. So
I've seen a lot of stores in the past do this for other games where they have kind of like a Halo collection. Mm-hmm. It brings more prestige, I think, for the store.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, this is the Flesh and Blood store. They have like all this like stuff, and I think it's just like a way for the owner to flex his collection while bringing more customers in.
Exactly. And I heard that this was happening where nearly every store that was carrying Flesh and Blood, at the very, very least, they wanted to get a cold foil Findel Spring tunic. Mm-hmm. That's why tunic prices were down to sub 5,000, then they spiked up to like 6,500, and I was complaining in the late part of 2023 and early of this year,
Yeah.
right? Even up till Queenstown, like January, February, where I was just getting collections swept out from under me by Japanese buyers. And they were doing that. They were like, oh, well, if I'm going to really be to be taken seriously in the TCG community as a flesh and blood player, then I need to have, my Heart of Findal, I need to have my Tunic and 4-class legendaries, and maybe even go get my Eye and my legendaries and my Skullcap.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal for these Japanese stores. And this guy took it to a completely different level. He's got a wall of like sub-population 100 items that are really, really scarce. And he's like, hey, well, I don't have to sell them. I believe they will go up, and there's going to be a day, maybe not today, maybe not next year, maybe not till 3 to 5 years from today, these items will move and will have a demand at the price points that I put them at. So, I think that's a great sentiment of a store owner, and that shows you that store owners, deep down inside, they're collectors as well. They just have a different way of managing their collection.
Yeah. Their collection is in inventory.
Yeah, it is.
Also, another person who posted Cold Foil Hashira. He also has kind of like a whole big display cabinet. I think it's really funny that he has like the OG 3 FaBleds. It looks like they're in like little capsules.
Yeah.
And then, just like, I think it's like the entire history of Flesh and Blood that you could collect. He has the lore book.
Yep.
I think like a case of like the OG set.
Arcane and WA.
Yeah.
Welcome to Wraith and Arcane.
Yeah, and then
WTR.
and then all of like the stuff. He has a Prism statue. I think apart from hoisting up, I don't know, like T-shirts and stuff that they made.
Yeah.
He kind of has like a little bit of everything. That you could possibly collect.
He's got the 1 of 6 cold foil print sheet, which was pretty insane because there's only 6 of them, and I know Rudy has 1 of them.
Yeah.
And I know one of the founders of Grinding Gear Games has another one. Mm-hmm. And there's that one that's sitting in his case. I'll say this for sure. I don't have one of those, and I want one of those. My God, how did you get all those nice things?
Yeah.
It's like the Joker, old school Batman movie. The Joker's like, where does he get all those wonderful toys? I want them. And that it's just really cool that an unknown collector, unnamed collector, somebody that's not been in our scene, has been in the background just collecting all these items. And I can't help but be a little envious of some of these really, really hard to find items.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm happy that, that they're out there. I'm happy that it's not just me or, open boosters are paying, and there's, other collectors, whether it be a store, whether it be a mysterious private collector.
Yeah.
They have such nice items. There's so many ways to collect Flesh and Blood. I mean, can we look at it again? Because I don't mean to critique the collection, but I just want to point out some things that, like, for example, if you look at one of the pictures, those are PSA cases, and those are really, really nice cases. Like, I was trying to buy that on the secondary market, but I don't have a collection of PSA packs. And if anybody wants to go out there and like just grade every one of the arts, it's only 8 separate packs. You can go do that.
You just you open the box, and then instead of opening it, you just like pick the packs out.
Pick the packs out and go get them graded. Hey, if anybody wants to do that, I'll be a buyer of some of your loose PSA 10s. And what else? There's, again, the Prism statue. There seems to be an original print or original art of Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Mm-hmm. Man, this guy seems to be like the PCG anti-version of me, because he's got the PCG gold foils, it seems.
Yeah.
Right? In 9.5. And like you said, the capsules of the the Heart,
fables.
Shard, and Eye. Then you've got are those? Yep. Those are the heavy hitters, cold foil sheets, which are really amazing. Plus, just a whole bunch of like fire marvels and scarce cards, as well as Yep. Seems like the rainbow foil OG Welcome to Wraith, one of 400 Majestics.
Do you think somebody like that, like they walk by that part of their house at least like once every week, just admiring?
Yeah. I just stop for a couple minutes and just be like, this is amazing. But unfortunately, space comes at such a premium in Manhattan that I just need to, put the stuff in a bookshelf or put it in boxes and suitcases. So that's great. We know there's at least like a 2-shelf display in this individual's presumably home, and I'm just a little jelly. And I mean, he also has the OG tunic, tunic without zone names, playmat, and I think the 1 of 30 Enlightened Strike playmat. So those are some really, really, really scarce items. That's that's just
contemplating. He's like, how do I get my hands on
so
one
cool.
of the last 3 sheets?
That's part of it. That is running in the background. That's one of the system processes that are going on in the background. Like I need to liberate one of the sheets from somebody, but we'll figure that out. There's still 3 of them, unclaimed in the world. So, or maybe not unclaimed. They're claimed. They're just not claimed by me yet. So
they're not public yet.
They're not public yet. Exactly. So, yes, that was a cool collection. The Japanese collection, or the Japanese store collection, was also really amazing. And it's also great just to hear from, new names, or names that have never, taken interviews with LSS, and just hear their perspectives about collecting. Before we wrap up, I also wanted to just, again, give a shout out to June, because he didn't go into detail about it, but he did mention that TCGs were kind of like a safe haven from bad experiences or bad memories, or he was, for example, in a bad place, I think was in his interview, and Flesh and Blood kind of, brought him happiness that he hadn't found for a long time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that, even as early as my high school days. Instead of taking further steps to become or escalate or elevate in my street pharmacist vocation, which might or might not have happened during high school.
Yeah.
I instead opted in to become a Magic the Gathering pro. Instead of going down some probably some poor mental health paradigms, I turned into the world of Flesh and Blood and embraced a trading card game again in COVID. And that's just really reflective of the foresight that James White had, because he always mentioned that any healthy grown individual should have 3 places. One is home, one is work, and one is the other place. And it's great that Flesh and Blood can be that 3rd place for people to not necessarily escape, but to, decompress and get their minds off of whatever's encumbering them on a day-to-day basis. So I really appreciate that June had brought that up, because when you're collecting, a lot of people don't really realize that. And these days, everybody's just preoccupied with how many dollars is this? How many dollars is that?
This is like a second job.
Yeah, it's almost like they think it's a bank account of some sort. And I will assure you that, as what I know about Junpeng, what I know about open boosters, and what I know about myself, is that we don't look at our TCG collections as an extension of our bank account. It's just our collections. It's something like you said, Yuanji, where that individual, Cold Foil Hashira, he's not like, oh, I probably have, $3 quadrillion on my wall. He's just like, oh, there's some really nice things that I really appreciate on my wall. Would I rather have this, or would I rather have a Van Gogh,
You think he has like a rocker? He just like sits in front of it
Yeah.
and sips
right?
on some whiskey and just looks at
I would say he probably bought one of those Legend Story Studios chairs, right?
Yeah.
Right? From one of those events in Asia, because I think they were featuring it in Asia.
Oh, yeah.
And he's probably sitting in front with his LSS chair, sipping on some brandy or something like that, or some cognac, and just enjoying what's on his wall. as an art aficionado would appreciate a piece of artwork on their wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's, again, really great for LSS to feature these, these individual collections. And it's also great for these, collections, hidden collections out in the wild to make an appearance. And while we're stating that, I also have to thank all the folks that stepped up, starting with Jonah, Pokington, I think Riddler Man was in it, I think Transient TCG, just a whole bunch of folks were out there featuring their Flesh and Blood collections in that whole series. It's time to not be quiet about Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
We did one as well, and that was a great movement that it felt like it organically just led into Collectors Week. And just to close it out and to put a ribbon on it, I think we have to talk about the last update of Collectors Week that LSS announced this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So, I guess I was curious how this was going to end. So, when they first announced Heavy Hitters, they announced as part of their, I don't know if you call it a marketing campaign or whatever.
Okay.
But it was the Deathmatch Arena leader points.
Yep.
So if you played any like limited event that awarded, I don't know like what the cutoff was, if it had to award rating or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But if you were the winner of the event, then you earn like 1 point for your hero, and then the hero that amassed the most points, everybody who is on that team gets a copy of Command & Conquer stylized in that hero's likeness. And so we finally got an update on that. And then the winner is Kasai.
Yep.
With 58 wins.
Congrats, Kasai players.
So now I pull up, there's a picture of the Command & Conquer. It's Kasai standing tall as the winner of the Deathmatch Arena.
Honestly, I have to say that Kasai art doesn't seem more compelling than the adult or the young Kasai. That's just personal taste.
Yeah.
But it is still really cool that there is a Command & Conquer with the likeness of Kasai in full art.
Yeah.
So it's a cool card. I think people on the interwebs were already, on the many discords out there, were already speculating about what it's worth.
Oh, do you know like what their ballpark? I had a number in mind.
Well, a lot of people are like, I would pay $1,000 for it. I would pay $1,000 for it. A lot of people are like, it's going to be so much more than $1,000. There's somebody out there saying that he's listing it for $5,000.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage everybody in the greater community to just chill the hell out and take a look. Wait for everybody to receive their Kasai Command & Conquers.
Yeah.
And if you really want one, then get one. And, keep the price points private. But somebody will ultimately brag about, I sold it for $3,000, $2,000, and then there's going to be this crazy FOMO.
Yeah.
There are 58 copies. If you are one of the 58, I would encourage you to save it as a trophy and really just cherish it because you worked hard to win.
Yeah.
Hold on to the card. One take that I really liked that's priceless was, I predict that the owners of the card will feel like the card's worth 5 figures, but the buyers of the card will feel like it's 3 figures. And that really also encapsulates, that weird buyer cardboard bias meta that we currently have.
Yeah.
It's like, it's an asset. It's a card. Enjoy it. It's not all about the money. You don't need to get $5,000 or $10,000 for your card. Just hold on to it and have a great time with it. Me, personally, I'm not saying I'm out, but if somebody offered it to me for $500 or it came as part of a collection, great. Am I like going out of my way to offer $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? No, I don't even think I own one Command & Conquer Cold Foil FaBled. No, I don't even think I own one of them. So,
yeah.
And that's been around for like 2 years. So I'm not really personally in a hurry, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody here, but I don't even think the Kasai version is cold foil. And even if it was, even if it's cold foil or rainbow foil, I wouldn't really want, to pay very much money for a copy. Just enjoy it as your trophy and be like, look, I won a whole season. I got this. I'm one of 58 in the world. And leave it at that and just enjoy it for what it is. What do you think, man? Do you think any different players or collectors What do you think is going to happen?
I thought that they were going to be around how much the FaBled Command & Conquer, maybe like a little bit more.
Okay.
But like around, I think right now FaBled Command & Conquer is, you can get it for like $600-700.
$600-700. So
I think,
800 to 1,000.
Yeah,
something like that.
Around there.
Okay.
You know, I think it's a pretty cool thing to give back to the players. I have some feelings about how I think that some of these promos should maybe be like a little bit more widely available. Because I really think that they're a great opportunity to I don't know if indoctrinate new collectors, but to generate excitement for collecting. Okay. Let's say you just started playing Flesh and Blood during the heavy hitter season, you spiked one of these events, and to jumpstart your collection, they gave you like a really cool promo. Okay. So I would have liked for something like this to be a little bit more widespread, but I mean like there's a lot of cool promos in the game now that people can go to events and collect. So I think overall it's a pretty cool thing that they also attach this to the end of Collectors Week.
I think it's a nice to have, and again, I would just urge as many of those 58 winners as possible. Just hold on to it. Think of it as a trophy for, you know, the beginning of Flesh and Blood 3.0. You played the first set of Flesh and Blood 3.0. He considers Misfail, for you know, although I consider Heavy Hitters 3.0. But yeah, you won a trophy. You're one of the 58 winners. Display it proudly. You know, go get it graded, and you know, put it on your, you know, put it in your living room, put it on your bookshelf, and enjoy it. And that should be the end of it. Because if you really cared so much to put in many hours, maybe even tens or hundreds of hours during this set, that are more during this set, then you must have worked hard to beat every other player out of hundreds of thousands of players that will go to the local game stores. You're one of the 58, so please enjoy it. Ultimately, you know, maybe half of them sell, but I hope that we don't see too many on the market, and you know, the winners just keep their winnings, they keep their spoils.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you thought of Collectors Week overall. Whether or not maybe if you're a new viewer, if Collectors Week has kind of inspired you to start collecting, or if you're a long-time viewer but you know haven't really been dipping your toes into actually collecting Flesh and Blood, has all these articles or news made you want to take a deeper position in collecting Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, for sure. Let us know what your thoughts are. My position doesn't change. I still see the long-term outlook for this game. It's still an amazing game. There's still amazing art. There's still a lot of fire promos. There's still non-cardboard assets like the Prism statue that I still need to find a fix for, because if you've seen that episode, that was atrocious. It was a tragedy. But that's it for Collectors Week. It's another year in the books for Legend Story Studios, where they came through, they followed up on print runs, they were fully transparent with us, and they kept the whole Flesh and Blood community delighted and entertained. So thank you for joining us. Remember to, you know, consider sponsoring us on Patreon, where we'll take the discussion further. Any dollars coming to us go into Yuanji and the FaBled Runaways. Let's go Runaways, everybody. And that said, remember to like, comment, subscribe, twiddle that notification button, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, it took a long time, right?
Right.
We finally got our PlayStation. Cost us 160,000 points, and we also got something for Philia's buddy, Philia's cousin in the West Coast. And, Philia, you got this, right? You got this in one try?
Yes.
And then we tried a whole bunch of times and didn't get another one. So, it was a successful day at Dave & Buster's, right?
Right.
All right. Well, I guess she's going to have to learn PlayStation 5. We'll see.